Kia ora e te iwi and welcome to The Chew. Coming at you from the Pūrako studio in Te Atamira, Queenstown, New Zealand. Ko Arrowtown Dad tēnei. And today we are going to be chewing the fat with Shay Muddle from his company, Riding to the Sky. Kia ora, Shay.
Kia ora. Thanks for having me, Corey.
Oh, it's good to see you, brother. Now, to kick things off, can you introduce yourself and also let us know where you grew up?
Sure. Tēnā koutou, katoa, ko wai au. Ko parihaka te maunga, ko hātia te awa, ko nā toki mata whaurua te waka, ko pehi a weri te marae, ko Ngāti Hau te apu, ko Ngāpuhi te iwi.
Ngāpuhi nui tonu. Ooh, kia ora, ka whai. And I understand you grew up in a non-traditional Māori family?
Yes, that's my pipiha is my Māori side. I was adopted at birth in Motueka. I was born in Motueka.
Oh, yeah.
And I was adopted out. So later I found out when I traced my birth mother in the early 90s, mid-90s. It was something that was quite obvious to me as a young Māori that I was different to my brothers. So my mother and father gave birth to Kerry, my older brother. They thought, bugger that, we're not having another one of him, so they adopted me. And they thought, oh, it's turned out worse. So they went back to having another biological son. No, that's not the truth. Mum got told that she couldn't have any more children after my older brother, so they adopted me as a second brother. And 7 years later, our younger brother came along, which is a gift.
Right.
And but yes, I was adopted out very young, and both my parents are European. My father's actually from England. He was one of the 10-pound poms that came out from the to repopulate the Commonwealth after the war. And my mother's from Greymouth, the West Coast.
Ah, so did you grow up in Motueka or on the West Coast?
Nelson.
Oh, Nelson.
Yep. To hear the story, my mother, my birth mother, who has sadly passed, she grew up in Whangarei and gave birth out of wedlock to my older sister, Donna, and she was whāngai out. It was quite common back in those days, and also then when pregnant with me, I think she was for it to happen again, she kept it from the family and travelled to Motueka to do some fruit picking and sat the pregnancy out there and then adopted me out. But when I was talking with her, I don't hold any hard feelings to her about that, and it was just something that she made a decision of back in those days, and if she had thought for 1 second that I was going to be in any type of harm, she wouldn't have done it. Unfortunately for me, I was adopted by a very loving family who gave me the best upbringing that they could, but very European.
Yeah. So, might be a sensitive question, I'm not sure. But so growing up, when you're a young fella, especially going to school, did you find you were treated differently, or did you? What was your experience as a young Māori who sort of was disconnected from that Māori side of?
Well, we grew up in Nelson.
Yeah.
At our school, there weren't many Māori there. There was maybe 15, 20 that I can remember in my sort of years.
Yeah.
Not that none of us were treated differently. The only thing I can say is that, because of my European parents, I think that, and my mother was a very strong lady. She still is. She's still with us today. My father's passed. Yeah. But very strong personality, wanted the best for us. I was never treated any different to my brothers, only for being a little shit. now and then. That was, I think, I tell you one thing, a lot of, she was told by some people, don't adopt a little Māori boy, he'll be nothing but trouble. Yep.
Yeah.
And she...
And how wrong they were, eh?
They were right. I was a little bugger. When I look back, my poor brothers, my poor mother and father, and how they survived. But, hey, listen, we all learn, and we came through it. Mum gave me the best love a parent could give. And when I traced my birth family, who are lovely, all up in the whangarei, I thought, there's something missing. Is there something missing? And I thought, when I find my birth family, it's all going to... And I suppose just in my case, blood was not thicker than water. And nothing against my birth family. Yeah. But I have my family. I have my mum and I have my dad. Yeah. We are not blood, but they are the ones that I put them through a lot of trouble when I was a kid. Absolutely. And they were loving.
No, I mean, I get that. And, the whole idea of whāngai is entrenched in Māori history as well, right? So, whāngai was a very important thing, and people, children who were whāngai'd into families from back in the day, they were just as family as blood family. There's I would call it a modern way to think that adoption means you're not quite part of the family, but certainly from a Māori perspective, you absolutely are. You're treated just the same as anyone else who's blood within the family. So,
that's right.
So, moving on a bit.
Sure.
So, how did you end up in Queenstown? So, tell us a story about it.
Well, I'd come down here. My best friend, Michael Enright, had moved down here in the I'd say late 80s or early 90s, and we were like, because we were living in. He's from Nelson. He was actually the I've been a musician ever since I was very young, and he organised our first gig, right? 14 years old, and he was our manager. He booked us a hall. Our parents went security. We gave away soft drinks and chips and charged $2 on the door. We played our performance, all 14, in Nelson, Richmond, and we made $15 each. And that was it. Mum, forget about school. I'm going to be a rock star. But then Mike organised that. So we'd been friends ever since that age. Yeah. And he moved down here and he started, do you know Mike Enright? No. Michael Enright, he brought pinballs into the area in the early 90s once they started making a resurgence. Yep. And he put them in Red Rock and he put them in Westies was back then, and a couple of other places. And I didn't really understand it, but we were living in Wellington. He moved down here and I used to come down and visit him, and he'd help me go and he'd asked me to help him clear the pool tables and the pinballs he got. And we'd just empty this money out because that was when the $1 and $2 coins had come out.
Yeah, right.
And we walk around with suitcases full of gold coins. And
right.
Damn, he's doing pretty good. But he was into rafting back then, very entrepreneurial. And later on, he started Queenstown Canyoning. I was in Auckland, jumping ahead 10 years to the early 2000s. Yeah. I've been in Auckland since about 97 with Jason Kerrison. He and I had started a band up there called Fungi. Yeah. So we met in Christchurch. He was in a band called Gorilla Biscuit, and I was in a band called Machine Jam. He was sort of R&B, and we were like heavy metal. He looked like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah,
sorry,
Jace. Of course.
And but I look like Slash, the long curly hair. Quite different backgrounds, quite different taste in music. But we both moved to Auckland for two totally different reasons within the same week, and then we reconnected in Auckland.
So did you know each other before you moved to Auckland?
Just. We sort of met each other, just mutual friends, and we respected each other's bands, and we'd been to see each other's bands in Christchurch. Yep. And then, but once we realised he was up there at a radio, doing radio in Auckland. He was studying that, and I was up there. What was I doing? I can't remember, not much. And we realised that we connected, and we were like, let's just start busking. So he and I started busking in Auckland.
What the?
And then we realised, people actually like us. So then we started getting gigs, and we were doing pretty well. And then a friend of Jason's in the radio industry said, look, there's this nationwide talent show called Showcase. You guys should enter it. And we were like, what's the prizes? And they told us the prizes. And we were like, what have we got to lose? And we were in our mid to late 20s, and we entered this thing. Well, cut a long story short, it was nationwide. It was hosted by Ian Fraser.
Yeah.
And Sir Howard Morrison.
Wow.
Was one of the judges. And Rima Tiwiata.
Yeah.
She
I
was one
remember
of the
Rima.
judges.
Yeah.
And also, it was so great. It was great exposure for us. And we came second overall, which was what we couldn't believe it. First prize was a trip to the Edinburgh Tattoo, first class, and spending money. And second prize was a trip to the New Orleans Mardi Gras. And we were like, New Orleans, let's go there.
Yeah, you won second prize. Yeah, because you won
second
second prize. Yeah.
And that was just such an amazing time for us. And,
you and Jason Kerrison.
yeah, so me and Jason, we ended up flying. Oh, this is a great story. I got to tell you this.
Yeah.
So we ended up flying first class. Two Māori boys, right? So we were in.
Was this part of the deal? Was first class?
So me and Jason were at the Auckland airport, and we're saying goodbye to our friends and relatives, and the gentleman behind the desk said, "You're welcome to go up into the first class lounge, into the Koru Club." And we were like, "What's the Koru Club?" And they were like, "Oh, it's the first class lounge." We're like, "Oh, sweet." And so we wandered up, and there was no one at the desk. You know how there's a representative, and we were just standing there waiting. No one was there. And we're like, let's just go on in. And so we went on in, and we were like,
eating, helping yourself.
All these people were like, because Jason had like a cap on, and we just had baggy shorts on. We were just very casual. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. We're allowed to. And you could see this lady, she had a newspaper, and she was like, I don't think you boys are allowed in here. And we were like, anyway, the lady come in, the Air New Zealand lady come in, and she goes, I'm sorry, gentlemen, you must have invites to be able to come in here. And we were like, oh, like this. And she goes, help yourself, boys. And we were, man, that was one of the best experiences. We flew first class.
First class.
There and back. And on the way back, Jason had the worst tummy bug. So they gave us the whole section upstairs in the Boeing where the captains sit. They gave us that to ourselves. Jason had his own toilet. And because he wasn't hungry, I got fed twice. It was a great experience.
So I've flown business class before, but what does first class give you? Because I've never seen it. I mean, you kind of walk past, but you're like, I wonder what they get,
well, because I think we just got endless amount of food. I wasn't a big drinker, and Jason wasn't either. Well, we drank, but we weren't huge drinkers.
Yeah.
So we didn't drink lots of champagne. We just felt comfortable, lots of space, movies, and got some good kai.
Yeah, wicked. Wicked. And so I'm assuming somehow this feeds into how you ended up in Queenstown?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Blah, blah, blah. It's my brain good. Sparking in different. So eventually we were in Auckland. We'd formed a band. I'd been up there probably 7-8 years. And then in the last 2 years of me living in Auckland, things were going pretty bad. I wasn't having a great time. And my friend Michael Enright, who was down here, says, oh, you should come down to Queenstown. And I was like, you always think of Auckland as being the epitome of success. And you think, no, I can't leave Auckland, because if I leave Auckland, then I've been defeated.
Yeah.
And so I remember thinking about that for a good year. And then finally things got so bad for me that Michael says, just come down. And I was like, you're right. And I made my mind up and moved down within a month. And as soon as Michael picked me up from the airport, I'm so grateful for him for bringing me down these ways. He picked me up from the airport, Queenstown Airport, and when we were driving along Frankton Road, I looked over and it's like Cecil Peak was just there with this glow, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
in the right
yeah.
place.
Yeah, I'm staying here.
I'm in the right. I just
Yeah,
knew
yeah,
straight
yeah.
away. I just said, this is my home.
Yeah.
I didn't know why. I just knew, and then it, and that's why I came here, and I've fell in love. It's been 20 years this year.
20 years
20
this year.
Years.
20
Even
years.
remember the date, Auckland, August the 3rd, 2003.
August the 3rd. Why do you remember the date? It's just...
It was just so life-changing for me.
Yeah, right.
It was, I don't know why. It's just I remember thinking, I've got to remember this date. It changed my life.
Wow.
You know, for the better.
Yeah.
Things could have turned out, gone the other way.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And had you been to Queenstown before that?
Several times.
Yeah.
I didn't really see the appeal straight away.
Yeah.
I thought it was for old people, you know. And
It probably was back then.
Because
Yeah.
in the early 90s, early 2000s, I wasn't into the outdoors. I was a musician. What's there to do with music down there, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah,
I know
right.
there's so much here.
Yeah.
And my mind was fixated on Auckland.
Yeah.
Music. And but how wrong I was.
Yeah, so we're gonna sort of step away from the whole
Sure.
music thing at this point. I just want to ask you some questions about your business.
Oh,
so
amazing.
now I understand your business is a Ride to the Sky.
Ride
is
to
that-
the Sky,
Yep.
correct.
And so can you tell us a little bit more about your business? What you offer, like what your business offers, and who, you know, people that you collaborate with or that you're in business with,
Sure.
along with that.
We offer guided only e-bike tours.
Right.
So I got into e-biking about 2017 and saw the potential of e-biking straight away. I was already a mountain biker, and I knew all these amazing trails in the area, but I was like, oh man, that's a tough ride, you know, up. So when e-bikes were introduced, I was like, electric bikes, my God, that is so cool. And when I got my first e-bike, it cost me a lot, and big shout out to Matthew Hurst for helping me acquire my first e-bike. And those were the places I started heading to first. And I was going to all these amazing places, and I was just like, wow, these bikes are so cool. The only downside of that was I was by myself, because none of my buddies had e-bikes back then.
Right.
And to bike where I was going on a non-e-bike was really tough.
How long ago was this?
2017, 18.
Oh, yep.
And then I thought, well, I bet you there's a bunch of people out there like myself who still have a heart for adventure, but just physically just don't want to die doing it, I suppose, you know, because the hills are a killer. And that's where I came up with the idea of offering guided e-bike tours. That grew and grew, and through Michael's Enright's wife, the Grant family, who own what's now called Country Lane.
Yep.
They have a hill up behind Country Lane, and I pitched it to them about doing tours up. They loved it, and we opened up our first tours to the top of that hill. It's called Ride to the Sky. That's where we got our name from.
Yep.
Also shout out to Campbell Reid, who owns Charge About, and he says you should name it Ride to the Sky. I was like, oh, that's a good one. And anyway, and then we ran our first tour December 2019, right before the pandemic.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So, like many other tourist industries or businesses around, we just stuck it out with a lot of support from suppliers, landowners, so forth, and also the Otago Business Association, who really supported us through those times. And then when the borders opened last year, things really took off for us, which has been fantastic.
Yeah, cool. And so, how's it going now? You know, like you managed to get through the COVID thing okay?
Yeah, we did. But when things started to get busier, my wife, she's Russian. She's an academic, so we are total opposites. She's the smart one. I'm the creative one.
Hey,
which is good.
yeah,
We've
opposites
learned.
attract. You know, all that kind of thing. Yeah.
But as we started to get busier, she started to ask me those hard questions. Have you done a business plan? Business plan. What's your bottom dollar? Bottom dollar. And I didn't know any of that, and I knew nothing about business.
Yeah, right.
But I knew how to create something cool.
Yeah, right,
And,
right.
and so she couldn't sit by. I actually told her, she goes, how much are you paying for marketing? And I said, this much. She goes, how many jobs have you got? Bookings have you got? And I said, 1. And she goes, she couldn't believe that I was paying this much. She goes, I will do it. And I said to her, I says, hun, I love you, but you don't know anything about marketing. Whoa, that Russian inside kicked in. She put this look on me, her face went red, and she goes, don't tell me what I can't do. And then she taught herself.
Wow.
And she made me eat my words. So she runs the business side, and she is smart. She's actually turned it into a business, and I'm sort of working on the front end. So it's a good team. But also,
That's good.
we are husband-wife, and it's pretty tough sometimes as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've had to take a real back seat and give up some of the power to my wife, which is hard for me to do, and I suppose a man, but she is she's the reason behind their success.
Oh, nice. Good story, because quite often in success you need the two sides.
Yes.
So when I do a lot of things, people try and get me to do stuff, and I'm like, I can't do that. Like I'm not a what do you call it? Like a visionary. I'm not a high level person. I'm just a get in and do it person.
Yeah, right.
But you always need all those aspects to make the whole thing work, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you are a get in and do it, but you're sort of visionary.
Yeah.
Like this podcast and your TikTok is great, and you're a real entertainer.
Yeah.
At the recent KUMA Awards,
Oh,
I
yeah.
loved that.
Oh, yeah, cool.
They needed someone like yourself to capture everyone.
Yeah.
Range of people.
Yeah.
And you definitely kept us all entertained.
Oh, thanks, man.
Top
Yeah,
job.
that was fun. No, I enjoyed that. But speaking of things that you enjoy, so what are the most enjoyable parts of what you do within your business? But more importantly, what are the most challenging things in your business too?
Well, I love showing people our area.
Yeah, right.
And teaching them something. And teaching them a bit of Kiwiana.
Yeah.
Teaching them a bit of Māori history, but also European history.
Yeah.
It's very important. And also geological history about how the lands were developed. As much as I know. And some people, especially Australians and Americans, they come here and they're like,
Yeah, we take it for granted, eh?
a lot of these, especially we were doing tours for under 30s experience, American tour company, and we have all these 20 plus Americans come over, and you forget they're born in cities.
Yeah.
They ride by tram or train or under subway or car. They don't ride bikes, but they can ride a bike.
Yeah.
So, but there's high rise.
It's quite different, eh?
And they come here and they're just going,
Yeah.
I can't believe, and
Yeah, distracted.
I love that. The satisfaction. Also teaching people about e-bikes and biking.
Yeah.
Making them, we have different qualifying skill levels. We have novice, newbie, beginner, intermediate, advanced. Now, we need to qualify people to suit them, to fit them to the ride that's best for them.
Yep.
And for those that want to push themselves, we'll take them up the hill, up our Ride to the Sky tour. But they have to push themselves. Everyone can go uphill. Coming down, people are like,
right.
So if they're willing to work with me, I'll push them. And when they come down and if they just go, I did it, and that's a lot of satisfaction for me to help them advance their riding ability, but also at the same time showing them this beautiful surroundings we live in Tahuna.
And so, what about the most challenging things you find within your business? That's good. You're taking a long time to answer.
Working with my wife. No, just kidding. Sorry, I edit that. No, that is challenging. That's probably the most challenging.
Yeah, of
To
course.
balance the relationship.
Of course,
Business.
of course, because
yeah.
you know that type of relationship is different. A business relationship and a personal relationship, they're quite different, and you can in business you can get a bit hard-headed when it comes to making certain decisions. So yeah, no, I totally get that. You know, that's
But that's my ego.
Yeah.
And I've had to really rein that in.
really
Oh yeah, because what does she know? I'm the biker, I'm the guide, but also she's a teacher, and
Right.
so I speak to people when I'm explaining how to use the bike's cadence and gears and up and down, and she's like, they're looking at me going, "No idea what
they're
you're
so
talking about."
confused.
So she
Yeah.
talks and like she teaches kids. So even though she's Russian, she knows how to. Okay,
Yeah.
we're calling this lever thumb, this lever finger. And I'm like,
Nice, nice and
so when she
simple.
says thumb, don't know which one to push.
Yeah.
When she says finger, they know which one to pull.
Look at that.
And she doesn't talk about cadence. No one knows
No.
what cadence is unless you're an experienced rider. So anyway,
Nice.
but yeah, that is challenging. But keeping people safe,
yeah,
and also challenging. I'm still a full. Well, music's a big part of my life.
Yeah.
And last season, I had 30 odd weddings on, and the business really took off. So there was a lot of day
Right.
nights.
Oh wow.
And looking after my mental health and also my physical health,
Yeah.
staying awake and being safe. Most importantly, keeping our clients safe,
Nice. Jeez.
which is a challenge.
That's well articulated, bro. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
And so this might be. I'm not sure if it's relevant here, but we'll ask this question anyway. So how does being Māori influence what you do? You know, are there any aspects of your Māori life or your Māori identity that come through in your business?
Yeah, I definitely. I think, Māori are natural entertainers.
Yeah.
We love to show
Yeah.
people a good time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that really, my personality really shines through as a guide or as a musician. A lot of people don't have that. And it puts me in really awkward positions where I'm just actually, I thought, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. because,
I know.
people look to me to be the one to entertain.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that my guides who are now working for us have to be exactly like me.
Yeah.
But for me, it just comes natural.
It does, doesn't it? It does.
But sometimes I've got to go, just shut up. Just stop talking and listen
It's funny. Like
and ask questions.
I've got a lot of friends, a lot of Māori friends that, and they're exactly like what you said, entertainers. They just have this natural way, this natural charisma, and it makes people laugh and feel happy. And you walk away from it going, you see some really dodgy stuff that was right up to the line, and everyone's just laughing and clapping the whole way through it, So it's funny how we kind of get away with it. We have that cheeky persona that we sort of put out there,
That's been a big part of it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So this interview is actually part of a collaboration with KUMA, the Māori Business Network, and the Southern Māori Business Network. And so we're going to shift our focus to their to interactions with KUMA. So you attended the Business Awards, right? The awards ceremony that we had?
Yeah, correct.
So tell us about your experience throughout the awards and what were the things that kind of stuck out with you or sort of the good feelings that you got from, good or bad feelings that you got from the awards event.
Well, first of all, sheer terror.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because we were up for an award, the People's Choice Award.
Yeah.
Which was, we were so happy to be even nominated.
Yeah.
Had, lots of support from KUMA and Carmela, and everyone has been really supportive of me
Yeah.
and my business and my part of the community.
Yep.
It's been very encouraging. And for me, it's just to go off sideways a wee bit.
Sure.
Growing up Māori,
Yeah.
but European raised,
Yes.
and dealing with other Māori so I look like a Māori but don't act like a Māori.
Yeah.
And on a few occasions that's actually brought me some negative feedback.
Of course.
And it sort of gave me a bit of a chip on my shoulder.
Yep.
And so So I'm always very, are they going to accept me?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because that's the way I just it's all in my head.
Yeah.
And through Carmela and everyone supporting me and slowly bringing me in. When we were up for the People's Choice Award, I thought, my gosh, I don't know my pipiha. How come I don't know my pipiha? Why?
You just lose it.
If
Yeah.
I have to get up and say a speech, what am I going to say? And I was terrified. And that's in a
no.
way, I was like, please don't win, because I didn't want to get up and talk on stage. But the other side of that, I saw all these amazing Māori businesses and some who didn't know their pipiha and were still up there
that's
and
right.
celebrating
That's right.
their business, and it was everyone was welcoming, and I got the best feeling of it, and I said, oh, you know, because I messaged you and I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, that was really great, and you being the MC and knowing other people there, it just made me feel really welcome.
Fantastic.
And wanting to strive to be learn more with my culture as well.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because, part of what we wanted to create is a safe space. It's not a competition on who's more Māori than the other guy, It's about celebrating who we are as Māori, regardless of your experience or your lack of experience or your knowledge on things or lack of knowledge on things. This is about, celebrating being Māori. So I'm glad you said that, but it's quite interesting that you had so much fear going into it about the whole, what's my pipiha, and if I have to say
what do
something.
I say, people, who do I hongi, who do I not, and it's like, it's really for other Māori who don't know, it's for Māori like myself, it's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. And to a point where I would sooner walk into a room full of Pākehā than Māori.
I totally get that. I was brought up traditionally, but I had a little bit of I was a kind of a left field thinker, so I didn't really fit in a lot. So I get that, and sometimes I felt more comfortable in non-Māori situations. Just the relief at not having to live up to something. But yeah, great feedback, and so with that experience in mind, but with this particular awards dinner. What advice would you give to like a Māori business that might be considering going to the awards or would consider not going to it because of the same fears that you may have had?
Oh, definitely get involved. Go to the awards, and get. And you've got to. One thing I've realised about myself is that you've got to meet people halfway. I can't always be like this with my culture and other Māori. I can't freak out. I've got to take that step forward as well.
Yeah.
And just relax and sort of just break down those walls that I've put up there myself. And I'm always expecting a certain way for other Māori to act towards me. And it still is tough. It's really tough.
Sad.
It's tough. And I definitely know other Māori who are like that. But are also taking that step forward. So now, I'm not going to shy away. I'm going to try as much as I can with the time I have to be involved with KUMA and be supportive of our local community, Māori community. It is pretty tough because I'm pretty busy at the moment.
Yeah.
But I'll make a real effort.
Yeah.
And try and be inspiring to maybe other Māori business owners.
Fantastic. Because I think it's important that we find a lot of people who can bridge, they can be that bridge between the Māori world and the non-Māori world. Don't get me wrong, there's a value on being fully in the Māori world, but there's a value in bringing people from the other side.
Oh, 100%.
And being able to connect with people on that side is easier for people like yourself in particular, myself as well, So, there is a place for us. That's the best thing, to encourage people on both sides, really.
And a lot of help from people like DQ as well, who are also trying to bridge the gap as well. They can see I'm a young Māori business. They've been very supportive, and that's helped with, in KUMA, it's really good. It's a great thing.
Yeah.
And to see all those, I just thought of once I saw people from Invercargill,
Yeah.
and Gore, and other places around the South Island, to see them all succeeding
Yeah.
and being proud of being Māori, I was like, man, well, yeah, I could do
Yeah, that was so cool,
It was
wasn't
really
it?
cool.
Yeah. And it was good that it was a uniquely Māori space as well. It's not that it was an only Māori space. There was heaps of non-Māori there celebrating with us,
Yeah.
you know, but it was a uniquely Māori sort of feeling to it. It was great. So getting onto the whole Māori business aspect, so I'd love to hear your thoughts about you know, the Māori businesses in this region,
Yes.
you know, whether you have any dealings with any of them, and more importantly, what strengths do you think Māori bring to business? You know, what unique talent that we have as Māori that we can bring to business?
Well, we have Karen Roos from Te Puni Kokiri
Yep.
has helped us in sorting out there's certain things that they can offer us and helping us as a business. It's a bit tough for me because even though I'm like a business owner, I'm not in charge of the business.
Right.
So Christina, my wife, is. So when Karen's emailing us and wants this and that, I'm like, what does that mean? And so I sort of have to hand the reins over.
Here you go, dear.
But in saying that, it's too easy for me to go, it's your stuff. You deal with it. So I do have to front up because she when she wrote the description of our business for KUMA Awards, she did it.
Yeah,
and then
right.
afterwards I was like, why did I make her do it?
Yeah.
You know, she's Russian. She's
Yeah.
not even Maori.
Yeah.
And I got her to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't force her to do it, but I was like,
No, it's just easier for
I
her.
need to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because I was busy. And I'm like, that's wrong. You know,
Yeah.
I'm the Maori one. So certain things like that, I need to step up and get more involved in. Other Māori businesses, not too many. We have, apart from KUMA, but businesses, no. There's not too many that I've had
Dealings
with directly for our business.
Yeah,
But
right.
I can see there is.
Okay. So that leads me to my next question, which is what do you think could be something that could help those Māori businesses come together in the local community?
Technology.
Nice.
I think technology, that's really important, the way things are moving ahead.
Yeah.
Especially with our business. I've got some really good ideas to how I would like to, I'm not saying this on the podcast because I know someone's going to steal it and go, yes, I'm going to create this, but I've got this idea of creating this type of tour. That
Oh,
many
you
more
think too
people-
highly of my podcast, bro.
Like I said, all my one friend will be watching this. But and also knowledge. Listen, there was I forget her name. The guest speaker. What was her name? Victoria Campbell. I only I sort of missed the first couple of minutes just because I was distracted, and then something caught my ear, and she spoke very well.
Yeah.
And really connected with me. So I'd love to make a connection with her.
Nice.
And she has a wealth of knowledge that I
Yes.
can share with my clients.
Yeah,
You
right.
get a lot of people who are really into our local culture.
Yep.
And then there's people who just aren't.
Yeah, of course.
And
of course.
I pick up on that pretty early.
Yep.
You know, if you're talking to them and they're like, or,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Then I'll just move on.
That's great.
And you get people who are like, and then what happened?
Yeah.
And then what happened? And then what happened? And so, that can stretch the... And I go, oh, okay, so now
They can go the other way,
they
right?
can
Yeah.
take talking a long time. But I've got to make sure to get my facts right. Technology, knowledge...
I make stuff up all the time, bro. People ask me a question, they go, oh, hey, and they call me Matua. I'm like, God, can you stop calling me that? And they go, oh, do you know the story about such and such? And I go, oh, yeah, and I'll kind of make up a story about them. I'm terrible, because I just want to help. And then I'm like, then I walk away going, I didn't actually help them. But yeah.
Excuse me.
So we're getting close to the finish now.
Sure.
It's been a fantastic chat. Thank you so much. And
Thank you, Corey.
but just to finish off our chat, I have one quick fire question.
Sure.
Okay. And might take a little bit of thinking for this one. So if you could go back in time,
Yes.
what advice would you have given to your 18-year-old self?
Yeah, that's a good one. Right.
And it's almost a question about, did you have any regrets about a pathway that you took?
Yeah, that's a tough one because, of course, you have regrets, but also if you didn't take the ways, if that didn't turn out and you learnt that lesson, then you wouldn't be where I am today.
Bingo.
So there's, I think, if I could give any advice to my younger self, it would be,
don't eat so much seafood.
don't eat as much as you can get your hands on. Oh my gosh. No, it's try not to overthink.
Yeah.
And that's a hard one for me to this day.
Right.
I remember things will pop up to myself that I've done years ago, and I'm going, and I'm beating myself up. I'm going, why am I even thinking about that? That's got nothing to do with today onwards.
Yeah.
Sure, that happened.
Yeah.
Accept it, move on.
And
That's tough.
There's things out of your control, right? And you dwell on them, and you there's nothing you can do about them, but they get you down, and then you pour energy into thinking about stuff that you just can't do anything about, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or situations that may happen. I think I'm luckily enough. I've been blessed with an optimistic outlook.
Yeah.
I've always known it's all going to be okay. So don't worry about it too much.
Nice one.
I think that's about it. Maybe.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, don't overthink, because obviously for me, what I gleaned from that, bro, is that you've learned to give that lesson to yourself over time. That's a lesson that I've had to learn as well, because I'm an overthinker, big time. But I'm more like an over-analyzer, so I don't just think. I look for ways to fix things, and sometimes, especially women, bro, they don't want it fixed.
They just want to be heard.
Yeah, they just like
listen.
On White Men Can't Jump. That's the lesson I learned from that movie as well. Anyway, so that almost wraps up our chat today. So how can people get in touch with you if they want to get in touch with you?
Brilliant. If you want to come and have an amazing e-bike experience in this beautiful land of ours, you can email us on info@ridetothesky.co.nz.
Right there, whānau. I'll put it
Google
on there.
Google Ride to the Sky Queenstown and we'll come up.
Nice, that's fantastic. So, e mihi atu nei ki a koe. Thank you so much for our chat today, Shay.
Thank you, Corey.
E te iwi, if you have any comments or any questions that you want to ask Shay, pop them down in the comments section below here. And remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you next time on the Chew Mā Te Wā.
Had a great day. Thank you, Corey.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.